Hi, welcome to 3.2 Design Challenge 2, Drawing Triangles. This is an exciting lesson in where you are going to learn to read notation and be able to draw an exact replica of a triangle and figure out what are the important notations you would need to give to someone so they could draw an exact replica of your triangle. All right, let's get started. Now, before I begin, let's review a couple things that we've talked about before. First of all, we've talked about line segment, and we know that by putting two capital letters here with a line segment, little baby line segment on top, tells us that this is a line segment. Okay, we also know that three letters with the center letter telling us what the vertex is. We can tell someone the name of an angle by writing the angle sign with the three letters, again with the vertex in the center, just like in this baby angle here, or we can just use the vertex, angle B, so that they know that this is the vertex of the angle that we're talking about. All right, let's get going here. Okay, we're going to start today by having some instructions that actually came out of our book. We have line segment BC, and that equals 4 centimeters, okay? And we have an angle B, and that equals 60 degrees. We have another line segment AB, and that equals 3 centimeters. Unfortunately, I needed to make this video at home, and so I don't have our overhead projector so that you could see me using a protractor and a ruler. You're going to need to trust me on this and listen very carefully and write down good instructions. Now, the first thing about these instructions that I want you to notice, I want you to notice that the B shows up 1, 2, 3 times. So we're making a connection from point B. So we're going to go ahead and start here, and here's my point B, okay? Always going to start with the angle because then it lets me know in what direction I am headed with both line segments from the vertex B. Now, I'm just like you are going to do, I'm going to put my center point around of my protractor or my angle ruler around point B. And then just like we did when we were making angles, we're going to put a point out here. We're going to put a point out here. And for 60 degrees, we're going to put a point out here. Now I know that from that point to this point, I have a 60-degree angle. Now, what other information do we have? We've been told that from point B to point C is 4 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my 4 centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters. Now it's in line with my point, so I know I have the initial side of my angle, and I don't even need that point anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. But I do know that since I've gone 4 centimeters from B, I've come to point C. So I'm going to put my C point right there. Okay? Now the next direction says that from A to B is 3 centimeters. Well, it also means that from B to A is 3 centimeters. So I'm going to draw 3 centimeters. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's my 3 centimeters. And that means I've come to point A. So I have my 60-degree angle from point B, check. I have my line segment B to C, which is 4 centimeters, check. And I have a line segment AB that is 3 centimeters. All right, check. Awesome. So all I have to do to create a triangle is then connect from point A to C, and I have a triangle based on the specifications I've been given. Now, once again, let's review. We know that we have to have a connection between the line segment information and the angle, or one of the angles, so that we know in which direction we're heading, at what angle we're headed. It's really important for us to have that connection between at least one of the vertices to another instruction that we have been given. All right, now let's try one more. Okay, this time the information we've been given is angle B equals 45 degrees, angle C equals 60 degrees, okay, line segment AC equals 4 centimeters. All right, now let's think through this. Where would we want to start? Stop and you write the answer, and let's see if you're right. Okay, well, I would like to start with an angle first, and since there's a connection between the angle and this line segment, I want to start with angle C instead of starting with angle B. All right, so let's go ahead and give that a go. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Here's my angle C. Like I did before, I put my protractor, my angle ruler, center point over center C point. I'm going to go out here, make a dot for my initial side, and I'm going to make a dot out here for my 60-degree angle. All right, I don't know how long I'm going to make these yet because we haven't talked about that. But I do know that from here, I have made a 60-degree angle. Now, since we have information about A and C and their connection here, let's go ahead and use this information, and then we'll know that point B is up here. I need to draw 4 centimeters so that I can go from point C to point A. Okay, there's my 4 centimeters. I know that this is where point A is. So I have my initial side, and now I need to go ahead. I'm going to, since I have my dot here, I know that this line has to cross this someplace, right? I just don't know where yet. I'm going to now work on my angle B. So I'm going to make this into a 45-degree angle. Once again, I'm going to put that point. I'm going to go ahead and draw my 45-degree angle. Okay, there's my 45-degree angle. So now I can basically connect the dots. And once again, let's make sure that we put the B here because this is our B angle, and we know from here to here is 45 degrees. Okay, so I've got to connect this to this. Okay, and this is going to be the initial side for B, and it's important that this become the initial side for B because we already have determined that this is the secondary side for angle C. And then we just need to connect, okay, and then we just need to connect right here, and that gives us our triangle. Okay, just for fun, tell me what the angle measure is of this angle. Okay, stop and tell me. Thanks. All right, now let's look at this cool triangle that I've made. We're going to call this S and C and point D here. This triangle here has 60-degree angles. All of them are 60-degree angles. That's interesting. What do I know? What is a triangle called when all of its angles are the same degree measurements? Will you stop and tell me? That's right. It's an equilateral triangle. Now, let's go and think about what we're going to tell someone. We're only going to use notations, and remember, we don't want to tell everything about this triangle. This triangle has sides of 7 centimeters, okay? So all the sides are the same at 7 centimeters. Now, we don't want to tell them that, but we just want to give them enough information. We also have learned that we need to have at least 2 of the vertices noted in 2 separate notations so that there can be a connection. Now we've done it with 3 connections between one point, and we've done it with 2, so we know either way will work. We also know it's important to tell our audience or the person who's going to draw this triangle an angle so that they have a place to get started. So let's try this. Let's try it this way with angle S equals 60 degrees. Let's do line segment SD equals 7 centimeters. And we've made that connection now. We have a connection between here and here so they know. And then let's go ahead and tell them that from S to C, so they have all the connections they need to be able to make this equilateral triangle. They know from S to D is 7 centimeters, from S to C is 7 centimeters, and they know that this is a 60-degree angle. From there, we know from experience already that we can draw this triangle. Now, let's look at it, and I bet there's another way that we could come up with explaining this triangle. So what I would like you to do now is I want you to stop, and I want you to write down 3 instructions that could be used to create this triangle. All right? Okay, great. Let's see what you've done. I'm going to go ahead and do another way. I'm going to say that angle D equals 60 degrees and angle C equals 60 degrees and line segment DC equals 7 centimeters. Now to practice, what I want you to do is on your notes, and I'll be looking for this, on your notes I want you to create a triangle with angle D at 60 degrees, angle C at 60 degrees, and line segment DC equals 7 centimeters, so that we can see that our instructions have worked. I think you have learned enough so that you can go and do this yourself. Now let's go over what we remember and what we need to do. We need to have enough information so that at least the same vertice is mentioned at least twice, so we can have that connection. 3 times works really well too. But see, with this one, we only have 2. With that one, we had 3. Same triangle, but looked at it from a different perspective. So there's more than one way to describe a triangle. Remember your notation. Remember to write angles and line segments and give the points so that people know what you're talking about it, along with the exact measurements. All right? I think you can do this. Good job.